I've got to be honest with you, I find that Jujutsu Kaisen rankings get really damn boring after a while because it's always the same people making the list. Every time I do one, it's always, oh my god, Gojo and Sukuna are number 1 and 2, who would have thought? And as much as I love glazing Gojo, it does get old eventually, so I thought it's about time I change this up and make an all-new type of ranking. One without the likes of Gojo and Sukuna. So today, we are going to be ranking the top 10 strongest sorcerers who are still alive at the end of the story. And no, it's not their full potential, it's gonna be just about determining exactly how strong each of them are at the end of the story, and then ordering them from weakest to strongest. That means no Gojo, no Sukuna, no Kenjaku, no Yuki, no Farmer, no Yorozu, and so on and so on. It's an all-new and very refreshing top 10 list. Also, just bloody subscribe, for the love of God, please just do it. Anyway, enough yap, let's get this shit started. Now sure, this list is going to be a fair bit weaker than the normal ones, you know, because process of elimination and all that. However, that doesn't mean that anyone on here is actually weak, because they definitely aren't. And yes, that includes my number 10 pick of Takuma Ino. Now, Ino is not only one of the coldest and shystiest sorcerers, as well as one of my top 10 favorite characters in all of Jujutsu Kaisen, but he is also the single most underrated and underutilized character in the entirety of the story. In fact, he's so underrated that most people don't even fully understand how his amazing technique works. By covering his face, he can use his seance ability called Auspicious Beast Summon to summon up to 4 different abilities. There is Kaichi, which fires a lethal and fast spike that homes in on the opponents, which is capable of one-shotting semi-first grade cursed spirits. And then there is Reiki, which allows Ino to control a fluid water-like substance used for massively improving his movement and agility, in addition to deflecting and absorbing incoming damage. The third ability is Kirin, which is used to nullify Ino's pain, allowing him to have far above the average grade 1 sorcerer's endurance. Ino's trump card, however, is known as Ryu, and it's basically just a whole-ass dragon that Ino propels at his opponents by infusing it with his own cursed energy. Kind of similar to Geto's Rainbow Dragon. Supposedly, no one that Ino has ever used 4th Beast Ryu on has ever survived. Well, no one except Sukuna, but that's to be expected because he's f***ing Sukuna. It did at least manage to catch Sukuna off guard and slam him into a wall, allowing Yuji to find an opening to continue his chain of black flashes. Even before the time skip, Ino was definitely grade 1 level, despite actually being a grade 2, which is supported by Nanami, who says the same thing. Post time skip though, bro not only gained Nanami's 7-3 cursed tool, but he also massively improved his cursed energy enhancement and learnt Simple Domain, most likely from Kusakabe. He fought Sukuna 3 times in the final jumping and survived all 3 encounters, including the time that he got shredded by close range dismantles. In fact, he may have actually learnt RCT over the time skip, since none of these slashes seemed to be there when he went in for round 3, although I'm guessing that is just Gege forgetting they existed. Basically, Ino is just underrated as fuck and is 100% on his way to becoming the strongest grade 1 sorcerer. At spot number 9, I am placing the man, the myth, the legend, Atsuya Kusakabe. I mean, do I really need to explain this one? Bro has insane basics, insane knowledge, insane speed, and one of the best defensive kits in the entire series. Maximum Uzumaki? No problem. Maximum Meteor? No problem. Close range dismantles from Ryomen f***ing Sukuna? No f***ing problem, brev. Kusakabe deadass 1v1 Sukuna by slicing him up, deflecting all of his shit, kicking him across a town, and then hitting the Honored One pose on him before eventually being knocked down. But at the end of the day, he did survive a 1v1 against Sukuna. I mean, even Gojo couldn't do that shit. I don't care what anyone says, he deserves the title of strongest grade 1, and in 1v1s, I wholeheartedly believe that he can beat all of the disaster curses. Bar Awakened Mahito though, that's a little bit too high for him. Basically, he's the GOAT. End of discussion. Now it gives me immense pleasure to be able to place Higuruma at spot number 8, because my boy is still alive and kicking after getting put through Sukuna's stomach shredder. I mean, Shoko must have deadass just super glued him back together like Mike Wazowski did to Boo's door from Monsters Inc. No complaints from me though, because Higuruma is just too goated to die, but like, damn, how did they manage to do this? Now remember, we are doing this off current strength, not potential, so don't come after me with your, oh, he's got Gojo potential kind of bullshit, alright? It's not about that. Higuruma is a jujutsu genius with a broken curse technique, but he is still a very inexperienced fighter when it comes to actual combat, which is why he's staying at number 8 for now. Regardless of inexperience though, bro has domain amplification, reverse curse technique, confiscation, the death penalty, and a domain that can't be clashed or countered when you're in it. So he very evidently is a ridiculously skilled and strong sorcerer who is only going to get stronger the longer he stays as a jujutsu sorcerer. There is simply no denying his insane skill and utility, even if if he is inexperienced in combat and is better in a 1v1 situation as opposed to getting jumped. And at number 7, I am placing none other than Megumi Fushiguro. Oh, you guys thought I was gonna forget the GOAT. Hell no, Todo is so goated that I even gave him his own glazing video. Bro came out of that time skip with his all new and improved Vibra Slap Boogie Woogie that even Ryoma and Sukuna couldn't keep up with. And not only that, but he was tanking black flashes from Sukuna, landing heavy blows of his own, and even straight up outsmarted Sukuna with 3 whole levels of Boogie Woogie deception. He is always there to pick his brother Yuji Itadori up whenever he needs it the most, and he is also the only character who had a hand in defeating all 3 major villains of Mahito, Kenjaku, and Sukuna. Bro has legitimately surpassed all other grade 1 sorcerers, and so I hereby declare that Aoi Todo is a semi-special grade sorcerer, which is a totally real title that I definitely did not pull out of my ass. Let's be real though, there's nobody here who's read Jujutsu Kaisen that doesn't think Todo deserves a spot in the new top 10. He literally carries the entire Kyoto school on his back, as well as Yuji and Yuta from time to time. If I could rank him alongside Yuji, then I honest to God would put him above that Todo wannabe Hakari. Now, this choice may surprise you, but I just have to give number 6 to Takako Uro, because as far as we're concerned, she is actually alive and kicking. At least that is until Yuji and Angel hunt her down. She is the sky-manipulating Heian-era sorcerer who fought Yuta Okotsu in Sendai Colony, and as much as I think she is blatantly strong, I also think she's incredibly overrated sometimes. I mean, I've heard people saying that she beats Yuji, which is some special grade waffle, I've gotta give it to them. In the grand scheme of things, she was holding her own against a holding back Yuta, even though she never actually did any real damage to him. I mean, she did deadass elbow him in the face, but he was too busy analyzing her technique to even notice this. Still though, Thin Icebreaker packs a serious punch, and the ability to simply redirect and deflect incoming attacks like Granite Blast is definitely no laughing matter. I mean, to even land a hit on her, Yuta had to use Curse Speech before pummeling her with fully manifested Rika's help, an attack that Uro was durable enough to survive and then counter with a domain expansion. Basically, I think she's slightly overrated, but 100% deserving of our number 6 spot. That is until Yuji beats the crap out of her. And now, for real this time, spot number 5 goes to Mr. Mahoraga himself, Megumi Fushiguro. I can already smell the glazers and the haters getting riled up at him being too low or too high, although I deliberately chose to put him right in the middle of this list since the story is over and we still have no clue how strong he really is now. At the very least, he should definitely have a load of Sukuna's cursed energy, and Sukuna's innate skill with Jujutsu should have engraved itself into Megumi's body even more than it did with Yuji. I see no reason why he wouldn't have Shrine 2, but some people argue that he won't because he already had a cursed technique unlike Yuji, even though I don't really see how that's a relevant argument in the slightest, but whatever. I also think he should at least have a complete domain by now, but I think it's more likely to be a complete open barrier domain like Sukuna's. But again, this is all unknown and just educated speculation, which, yes, is a fancy way of saying it's headcanon. The real mystery is his 10 shadows though. It's pretty much confirmed that Megumi's 10 shadows are separate to Sukuna's, since Sukuna claimed that he couldn't use it once Mahoraga was destroyed, but Megumi still can. To me, having separate versions of the curse technique makes zero sense, but if that's what Bossman Gege says, then it is what it is. Despite having more cursed energy, more knowledge, and more skill, it's unlikely that Megumi has managed to tame Mahoraga yet. But with his improved cursed energy control, I reckon the deer, bull, and tiger will soon be tamed. If he does have Shrine, then I reckon Mahoraga will definitely be tamed too, eventually. But if not, then I'm not so sure. That's why I placed him in the middle, because there's just too many unknowns and it's based off current strength, not potential. If he does have everything discussed above, then he is probably in 3rd, or maybe even stronger than Yuji at 2nd place. But hey, even as he is now, top 5 is still crazy impressive. Now, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but taking our number 4 spot is the restless gambler himself, Kinji Hakari. Look, I can hate all I want, but the reality is, even with his wasted potential, he is still one of the heavy hitters and one of the strongest characters in the verse. Yes, attack potency-wise, he doesn't really compare to Yuta or Yuji because he is just a punch-kick merchant, but at least he has punches and kicks on a special grade level. You know, Sandpaper Cursed Energy is definitely a Heian-era sorcerer's greatest fear. We do make fun of him, but going extreme diff with a sorcerer sorcerer like Urame for the entire arc is still crazy impressive, and as unbelievably long as that fight lasted, it did eventually look as if Hakari would have won. At the end of the day, being immortal and having the power to kick Sukuna's personal assistant through a city block is kinda mad when you deep it. And he may be as dumb as a grade 4 cursed spirit in most fields, but he does at least have a very high battle IQ. Also, it's hard to see him ever losing a fight due to his plot armor disguised as luck. Now, Hakari may be the definition of wasted potential, but he does deserve at least this number 4 spot and the title of special grade. Oh, and when I say special grade, I mean in terms of strength. Fuck Kenjaku's bullshit description of being able to overthrow a nation. That shit sucks. And now it's finally time to discuss the top 3 of the new generation, starting with the invisible woman, Maki Zenin. First of all, Soul Split Katana is an absolute cheat code. I really don't need to say any more than that. She also gets a lot of hate for getting hit by those black flashes, but rarely gets acknowledgement for holding her own in a 1v1 against Heian form Sukuna, even if he was injured. Her heavenly restriction probably makes her the physically strongest and fastest of the heavy hitters, but I think it's more likely that she's around relative to Yuta and Yuji. But she also gets some crazy advantages like being nearly undetectable, being able to sense and dodge attacks like Dismantle and the World-Cutting Slash, and also her healing factor, which takes way less energy than normal reverse curse technique. Let's also not forget that she's completely immune to closed-off domain expansions. Being able to recover from 2 black flashes from Sukuna and cleave straight to the stomach is also no laughing matter. It's unlikely, but Maki and Toji are 2 of the few characters that I consider capable of beating pretty much anybody in the verse, bar Gojo and Sukuna. I think if everything went her way, she has the potential to beat Yuji and Yuta, but overall she is the weaker and less dynamic of the 3. It's blatantly obvious that she is now top 3 though. Right then, well, I already know this is gonna cause some chaos, but like, you clicked on an Allons-Y video, so what the f did you expect? At number 2, I am placing Yuji Itadori, the man that Gojo entrusted his dream to. The debate about whether Yuji can target the soul normally is kind of getting old now, and even if there is evidence that supports it, it's just headcanon, so I'm gonna assume that he can't. But his position probably wouldn't even change if he could do it. Now, Yuji Itadori has insane innate strength and a mix of Sukuna's, Kusakabe's, Gojo's, and Yuta's cursed energy control engraved into him. So he's already a semi-special grade level sorcerer based off pure hand-to-hand combat alone. Mix this with his blood manipulation, shrine, efficient reverse curse technique, and a domain expansion, and you have yourself a limitless grade sorcerer that has joined Gojo and Sukuna in surpassing the mere title of special grade. And again, that's a totally real title that I did not make up. Let's also not forget his unreal proficiency for chaining black flashes, as well as his hand-to-hand skill that one day might even surpass Gojo and Sukuna's. I literally don't see anyone being able to beat him other than our number 1 and maybe Maki. Give him Todo though, and even Sukuna isn't beating him. He is undeniably in the top 3 of the remaining characters, second only to the sorcerer who themselves was second to Gojo. And that brings me on to the number 1 strongest living sorcerer in the entire verse, Yuta Okkotsu, the prodigy of the modern age. In base, bro has cursed energy second only to Sukuna, and then endless cursed energy during his 5-minute connection to Rika. He not only cooked Sukuna twice, but he also soloed the strongest Culling Games colony, killed Kenjaku, and then masterminded not 1, not 2, but all 6 backup plans used to defeat Sukuna. Hell, he even gave Yuji his gauntlets to hide his missing finger. Not to mention that he outsmarted and tricked Sukuna 3 whole times across the entire fight. Soul swapping with Gojo not only massively buffed his cursed energy control and domain refinement, but using Kenjaku's curse technique to swap into Gojo's corpse allowed him to invert his barrier conditions and learn small barrier. Yuji also hasn't healed his finger, meaning that Yuta has kept Shrine alongside Sky Manipulation, Druv's Shikigami, Curse Speech, Body Swap, and Jacob's Ladder. In fact, the only curse technique that he no longer has is Charles's Foresight, which overall won't change all that much. With his natural genius for Jujutsu, unmatched cursed energy, insane swordsmanship, a truckload of cursed techniques, advanced RCT, the Queen of Curses, a broken domain, and a giant love beam, I don't see how anyone can think he's not top 1 right now. I know I'm just a glazer, but I don't care. Even if Megumi tamed all of his shadows, Yuta is still sending his ass crying back to grade 2 with the one shadows technique of rabbit escape. Lots of people always want me to talk about Yuta versus Yuji, but I find that really boring and much prefer looking at them as a duo. Although there is no denying that both the new and old main characters who were saved by Satoru Gojo are the undisputed goats of Jujutsu Kaisen, and both belong in my newly created limitless grade. But anyway, that does it for today's video. So as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, feel free to join the Discord and follow me on Twitter, links below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in a bit.